Hi there, and a warm welcome to the Bridge podcast, where we bring you insider insights and top tier advice from sales and marketing leaders to navigate your career path. I'm Agnes from HubbedIn, and today's episode, we have the honor of hosting Gerald Lee, the founder of Touching Hearts, Bridging Minds. Gerald's career spanned various sales leadership positions from within the FMCG sector, most recently as the general manager at All Excel Trading, the force behind Red Bull Malaysia. He also has held leadership roles previously in Etica, Munchwell, Ferrero, Cellcom, and others. Beyond the office, Gerald has published 4 books that shares some of his life lessons and professional wisdom. His commitment to fostering human connections and driving individual potential can be seen through the mentorship, the classes, and the sharing sessions that he organizes. So, buckle up as we dive into a conversation with Gerald, a man whose life works is not just about sales, but touching hearts and bridging minds. Hi, Gerald. It's great to have
Hi,
you with
Ines.
us.
Thank you again for the invitation. An honor to be here with you today on this podcast.
I'm really glad to have you here. Could you do a brief introduction about yourself and share about more about Bridging Hearts?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gerald. I'm actually an award-winning sales leader with over 25 years of corporate experience, and I've held senior leadership positions in FMCG, in telecommunications, in startups, and also technology companies. Touching Hearts Bridging Minds is actually my learning portal, or what I would like to say, my passion and the mission why I started or initiated Touching Hearts Bridging Minds is because of my passion to enrich people's lives. So I believe I can enrich people's lives by touching their hearts and bridging their minds. It's all about connectivity. It's all about understanding people.
That's great to know. So right now at Touching Hearts, Bridging Minds, what do you do?
What do? I actually founded Touching Hearts Bridging Minds, and through that, I actually coach, I mentor people, I speak a lot. I'm invited to various platforms, both locally and also internationally. I speak at universities, I speak at corporate events, and at the same time, I run corporate and also university training programs where I actually upskill and uplift human capital development. So that's what Touching Hearts Bridging all about. Is basically enrich life, right? So enrich lives will come in many formats and many ways. Coaching, I enrich lives through mentoring, which I'm also mentoring mentees from over 29 countries. So again, those are areas that I continue to engage with people, connect with people. At the same time, I transfer whatever insights and knowledge that I have so that their lives are, as rightfully said, enriched.
It's great to know because for our lives, it's both a balance of the heart and the
Correct.
mind. So I think you started out your career at
Mhm.
Unilever, which is one of the biggest FMCG companies out there. And then from there, you built your sales career in the FMCG space. What were some of the key challenges as you embarked on your sales role?
Well, many key challenges, but let me focus on a couple of them. I would say first would be to deal with customers and business partners. When I started out as a junior salesperson, and most of my customers and business partners have been in the industry or has been in business longer than I do, one of the questions I always face when I deal with them is, how is this junior person, me, going to add value to their business? So that is the first question, the first challenge, right? Because again, I've just graduated from university, joined a corporate career, first time meeting all these, I would say, periods and old timers who have been in the business longer than you. So I think it's about how can I add value? And the second challenge I would say would be on the sales target. Being in sales, I think it's all about targets, right? It's all about deliverables. It's all about outcomes. So how do I go about delivering all those numbers? I think that would probably be the earlier challenge. How do I go about delivering all those numbers? Being new in the business, trying to understand, trying to really, really get myself familiarized with business, dealing with people and people that I've not worked with in the past. So getting to know them and eventually delivering numbers. I think those were probably my earlier challenges. Right.
So looking back, right, what sort of advice would you give your younger self when you first start out in your role?
Younger self. Well, I think it's about learning as fast as possible. picking up the ropes, right? Going down to the ground, understand the business, understand the people, understand the processes. And again, is look at all options of delivering outcome. And I would say working with peers, the counterparts, or even the colleagues, try to get their best practices, understand from the what has actually worked within the organization or within the department. So I think it's about getting them to transfer knowledge so that I can, in a way, fasten my learning curve. Because in the past, when I was young and new, it's about, okay, let's do it, right? Let's go out and try it out. So at times when you go through the trial and error, you actually waste a lot of time. Of course, you learn along the way. And I would say that in order for us to learn even faster, is sometimes not to replicate or not to repeat those mistakes that already have been done by my fellow colleagues or fellow peers. So learning from them, that will definitely fasten my learning curve. Again, probably will be able to drive my progression through my career even faster.
I think those are great points, right, to make, which is one, when first starting out, really ask about what kind of value we ourselves can bring team. And the second is really to learn from the other people, the other more senior people, the colleagues around us, what is being done in order to know what we can value add more.
Correct.
Could you share with us some of the key milestones or career decisions that you have had through the course of your career?
Okay. Again, there are many. Let me focus on a couple of them, or a few of them, actually, not a couple, a few of them. I would say, firstly, get a mentor. If I look back, my first mentor was actually my immediate superior. And he was the one who taught me all the ropes. Yeah, and in a way, helped me in starting my career in sales. If I look back, if I reflect on that experience, he was a tough person to work with. Seriously, he was a tough person to work with, not a very easy person. But it made me hardy. He taught me what perseverance is all about. And that's when I also learned what it actually meant, right? Perseverance. And those earlier years, if I may recall, actually a very good foundation for my sales career moving forward. And it's very, very important for us to get the right mentor to handhold you or handhold me at a point in time and laying the right foundation. I think that's really, really critical. That would be one. But number two, I would say probably putting in the long hours, working hard. We always talk about working hard and working smart, right? I would say at the very, very beginning of my career, it's all about working hard. Didn't know how to work smart point in time. So it's all about putting in the hard work, long hours, rolling my sleeves, getting down to the ground, going down to the ground, and understanding what the customers and also what the consumer wants. Because at the end of the day, in sales, we are here to provide solutions, right? We're here to sell something that the consumer wants. If the consumer doesn't want the solution, no one's going to buy from me or no one's going to buy from us, right? So I think it's very, very important for us to understand what our consumer wants and what our customer wants as well. And I would also say that building rapport and trust with the people that I work with, where it could be internal stakeholders, it could be external stakeholders could be our customers, business partners, because I believe the relationship that I built with them enabled me to open doors whenever I join a new company. So whenever I join a new company, I will still be licensing or dealing with the same people. Let's say, for example, the trade partners, right? It will be the same trade partners that I've been dealing with when I move from roles to roles from different companies. And having built a very, very strong relationship with them enables me to just the phone, give them a call and say, I'm here with this new company. I'd like to see you. So I get to meet a lot of them without going through, let me say, proper appointment schedules. You know, sometimes you have to see people to make appointments and say, okay, you only can meet me next week. So getting to know them and knowing them really, really well helps me to actually make the appointment on the spot. And if I want to drop in, I just walk in and drop by and say, hello, I'm here. So to me, I think that is really, really critical for any salespeople to continue to build relationship, especially with your partners, because you wouldn't know when will you be meeting them again. And likelihood, you may be meeting them in a different context or a different capacity.
Yeah, that's a great point. On sales, it's always about
Correct.
relationships, building the trust. And it does take a lot of effort, right, on your end to build that kind of trust and rapport. Do you have any tips to share with like our listeners on how you can build like such lasting relationships?
Well, let's look at the business context, right? our business partners, our customers, our clients, they have exactly the same needs that we have in an organization. If we are here to deliver revenue, we're here to deliver growth, we're here to deliver profits, it's exactly the same needs our business partner will have. So I think it's very, very important for us to really work closely to deliver all those needs that they are looking for. Relationship is built when they can trust you, right? If you walk your talk, if you tell them these are the things that we will bring to the table, if you tell them these are the support that you will be able to accord them so that they're able to deliver what they require, example, profits or revenues or growth, make sure you commit and deliver it to them. That's where trust happens. And thereafter, if you need any support from them, you can be rest assured they will reciprocate. So it's always our commitment and also our first step that will start the whole ball rolling, start the whole relationship rolling. So it's very, very important for that.
So it's really about building trust and adhering to what you say, right? And how you deliver.
Yes, it's about delivering what you say. It's exactly that. Because if you overpromise and you under-deliver, that's where the trust will be destroyed per se, or at least jeopardized for a moment, right? And thereafter, you will probably need a lot of effort to rebuild that trust again.
So I see you mentioned having a mentor, right? You had a
Mm.
tough mentor which taught you
Mm.
perseverance. How do you suggest people find their mentors, like young people now? How do you suggest they reach out to mentors or find mentors to guide them through their career?
Well, I think finding mentors many ways. Firstly, you can actually search for someone within the organization. So your mentor could be your manager, or could be your manager's manager, or even it could be a peer. There's always this term called peer mentoring, right? Peer-to-peer mentoring. So again, it could be someone that you know and work very, very closely with. In a mentoring environment, it's all about sharing perspectives, sharing insights, sharing experiences. So as long as the mentor is able to share that perspective to you, which will help you in your career, that should be a mentor that you should be looking for. That is one way from an internal perspective. Again, there could be mentors from the external perspective. External perspective could be your business partner, could be people that you work with or your friends in the environment or in the society or in the community, which will be able to share exactly the same experience or insights that you require. Otherwise, there are plenty of mentoring platforms out there, right? Whereby I'm also very, very actively in. So again, is reach out to them. Google, check out some of the mentoring platforms. More often than not, they are all complimentary. So there are a lot of free mentoring. Reach out to people, work with people that you feel will be able to assist you, will be able to support you. Because end of the day, why do you need a mentor? It's for you to be supported and for you to unleash your full potential. So to me, mentoring is all about that. It's for you to really, really go within yourself, understand yourself better, at the same time getting another perspective from someone else, which has worked for the person and is worthwhile for you to, in a way, model after, or at least for you to evaluate, for you to review and tell yourself, will it work for me? If it works, why not? Let's try it out. If it doesn't, no worries. There are plenty of mentoring experiences and mentors out there that would probably fit your bill eventually, right?
That's great advice. I mean, of course,
Hmm.
I like the point where you mentioned to internalize the advice first before implementing it, right? Because not all advice might pertain to you.
Not everything works for you.
Okay.
It may have worked for the
Uh,
mentor. Just review it. Yeah, internalize as you rightfully say. Correct.
that's great. So let's move on to some of the sales
Sure.
insights that you might want to share. So, what are some of the current sales trends that you see that might have some of the biggest impacts in the sales industry?
Okay. Let's look at trade dynamic. I would say the evolution of the trade dynamic. If you look at many, many years ago, when trade started, it was all provision outlets, right? Pub and mom shop, our so-called mini markets, right? And over time, we had the emergence or the entrance of bigger stores, the hypers, the supers, right? And again, if you look at the current trend nowadays, the bigger stores are no longer there. They have probably transitioned themselves to smaller ones, the mini markets, the convenience stores. And I'll say that it is probably a consolidation in the industry. If you look at the Malaysian context, most of the international players, they have actually exited Malaysia. And you'll find the local players now growing even stronger. and taking those spaces which have been left behind by all the international players, right? At the same time, because of the pandemic many years ago, and now post-COVID, post-pandemic, you also see the stronger growth, right? I would say stronger growth of the e-commerce and online stores. It has always been there many years back, competing head-on with I would say the brick and mortar stores, right? But because of the pandemic, it has actually accelerated the e-commerce and online stores. And hence, nowadays, if you look at the sales environment in today's world, you'll find that people now have choices. They can still shop at the brick and mortar. At the same time, they have the choice of the online stores, the e-commerce stores. And again, you will find that most companies, in the past, they only have a retail outlet. But now they have both a retail outlet at the same time online store or online platform, because they realize the importance of it in today's environment, because purchasing habits have changed. Hence, companies who are here to, in a way, conduct sales activities got to also evolve with times.
This is a great point. I think in the past, you could just survive with retail, right? But right now, you do need online digital presence. And with like all these live selling, those TikToks and things like that, it's very, very different now, the dynamics with all the young shops.
And you realize that even some of the e-commerce or online stores, they have also ventured into having physical stores, because they also realize that they cannot, in a way, it's not about cannot survive with the online store, but they believe that it must be an omni-channel type of arrangement. Because again, consumers' behavior patterns or purchasing patterns have actually changed. So hence, there is a need for both channels to be made available to their consumers. Otherwise, they actually lose out to their competitors who have the best of both worlds.
Right. So it's not just one channel is better than the other. It's actually
Correct,
hand in
correct.
hand. Okay. Sometimes sales is very, very pressurizing, right? For
Okay.
some people, there's KPIs to meet. If they cannot meet their KPIs, then usually they have to undergo some sort of performance improvement plan or some sort of warning. Yeah. How do you suggest salespeople manage this stress?
Well, or we as salespeople, we are not magicians or miracle healers per se, right? There will be times where we will miss targets. There will be times. And I will take it as it is normal. More important is what we actually do next. Example, what are the recovery plans? What support do we need to cover those shortfalls? If this month we're having a shortfall of 1 million, example, can we recover that 1 million next month? Or can we recover that 1 million in the next 3 to 4 months? How do we face those shortfalls? How do we recover? And again, I always find that sometimes it's good to actually revisit fundamentals. What I mean by fundamentals, what have actually worked previously? More often than not, salespeople will say, okay, what have worked previously, let's not revisit anymore. Let's look at new ways to grow sales. And because of that, most cases, we tend to overlook what have actually worked previously for us. So it's very, very important for us to actually review, again, as like what you say, the internalization of it, and how can we replicate those success stories? Things that worked for us in the past, how can we replicate it in today's context? Because at times, a lot of the plans, a lot of the initiatives, it could be a promotion plan or the strategies that's worked in the past, those are things that could have been replicated. But because of our so-called gung-ho-ness of the urge, right, to do something new, something different, we forgot that fundamentals times are the one that will help us moving forward. If you look at sales, right, fundamental, growing distribution, right? Growing distribution, building width. When you have built the width, then you build depth. How much can I sell more? So these are fundamentals that will never change. Trade execution, whether you are FMCG, you're a telco, you're a startup, or any other environment, trade execution is very, very critical, because how can we get our consumers to be attracted or compelled to buy from us? So executing of the plans becomes extremely critical. So trade execution, or what we call everyday great execution, H. These are also fundamentals. You cannot run away from that. So to me, if you do face challenges in meeting your KPIs, your targets, try to understand fundamentals. Are you doing it well? try to also understand the building blocks. For a number to be set that high or that low, there must be what we call key building blocks that have been put in place. Example, if today is 1, how do I move from 1 to 3? How do I need to deliver that 2? There must be step-by-step building blocks that have already been crafted, have already designed, and again, aligned internally for us to deliver that. So go back and look at the building blocks. Are we executing it to perfection? That's where execution and excellence operation will help. Again, time to go back to basics, to fundamentals.
So really reviewing what has worked in the past, go back to the fundamentals to really dive down into what gaps there might be in the
Correct.
processes. What do you see in exceptionally successful salespeople that sets them apart from the rest?
I think exceptional salespeople are people that really, really understands what consumer really needs. Because as salespeople, our role here is always about providing solution. Because if we are not part of the solution, which means we are definitely part of the problem. So to me, I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. So understanding our customers or business partners' pain point becomes extremely important. Understand those problem statements, and then look at our solution. Are we able to provide them those solutions? If you're not, then how are we going to be there for them, adding value to their business or contributing to them? So again, if our solutions are not widely available to them, that's where we will probably have to go back to the company, work with the respective teams internally, and come up with the right solutions. And again, it's sometimes good for salespeople to have that innovative mindset, come up with different ways of working. That is only after you have exhausted all the fundamentals, the basics, right? The operation excellence. You've done everything already, and you realize that there is still a gap. So hence you look at new things. Is there anything else within your pipeline, within the company that you can innovate? So when we talk about innovation, it's not about a product or services innovation. Of course, if you have a new product, definitely it will help you to grow, right? If you have a new service, if you are in the service line, definitely it will also help you to grow. But what about innovation in terms of processes? Can we make things simple? Can we make things quicker? Cut short the red tape, the bureaucracies. So at times when people look at innovation, they will say that, okay, let's innovate a new product, a new service, right? More often than not, they always tend to overlook the innovation in terms of processes. So to me, it's understanding the processes, the operations is also critical, because you realize that if the operation or the whole flow takes from A to Z to just deliver the outcome, can we cut short that process? Can we only cut short from A to maybe D or B or C, yet deliver the same outcome? If you can, then at least you know that you are definitely a lot more efficient in the whole process. So again, in salespeople, not only need to do sales, I think it's very, very important for us to understand the whole flow, how business actually works internally and also externally, so that we provide the right solution for them.
So it's really about understanding people's pain points and then innovation, not just in terms of like new products, but also really looking at the operational side of things. I guess operations and innovation sometimes is not the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I think more often now people want to look at the shorter or shortcuts, right? So shortcuts is sometimes about innovating the things that is easier, right? Evaluating what is already inherent within the whole organization, it will take a little bit more effort. And at times, this effort will actually help you.
Moving on to a question, what are some mistakes that you see salespeople make? So sometimes, maybe they rush into a sale.
Well, I think some mistakes will definitely be, pushing very hard in terms of the numbers, right? Because again, it's all salespeople have a sales target they need to go for. So at times it's about doing the wrong thing. It's about loading up the customers, right? You understand the loading up customers. Again, is if you are selling a physical item, if the customer only requires, let's say, 10 cartons, but because you need to hit a sales target, you load up the customer from 10 to maybe 100, which is overloading. Overloading is not really good or bad. If you are able to help the customer off take, right? Help the customer to sell off all those products that you sell in, then that is good. The worst thing is you load up the customers and you do not do anything about it. So that is not a very healthy environment. So that's one. Number two, I think it's all about building relationship, right? That's it. So sometimes a lot of salespeople are in the market nowadays. Building relationship will probably take a little bit more time. So when you don't have the time to build relationship, you just go in and be, in a way, pretty serious and very professional, right? It's not that we must not be professional. Again, in a sales environment, because relationship, it is still critical. Not understanding your customers, you will not be able to provide the customer the right solution. And then you will find out how come the customer is not collaborating with me. It's not because they don't want to collaborate. They just do not know you well enough for them to understand how you work and for them to actually ask for support. So I think it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. In order for you to be really, really successful, really go back to fundamental, understand what your customer really want, and ask yourself, do you have exactly what they need? If not, then what are you there for? What value are you going to provide? Yeah. You're just not there to meet them every day without providing solution. So again, it's building that relationship will enable you to open doors because your customers will be more comfortable sharing with you their so-called secrets.
It's really about knowing them, trying to add value, trying to put yourself into their shoes. So you have managed teams of up to 600 people. How do you manage such large sales teams across the different markets like Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei?
Well, I would say constant alignment. Because the team is so huge, right? 600 people, actually it's over 600 people. I always like to sell my vision to the team. And I sell to them also the vision of the business and I get their buy-in. So the regular engagement with my team, ensuring that they are moving in the same direction as me is really, really critical. Because let me give you an example. If we are a ship and if I am going to sail north, I need everyone on board the ship. That's one. And I need everyone on board the ship to sail in the same direction as I. So no one is to be left behind. It's very, very important, the alignment and also the regular engagement, making sure that everyone really knows who I am as a person. Everyone knows who I am as the leader of the ship. Because I've also managed people from different generations, baby boomers, Generation X like myself, to Gen Z, millennials, and so on and so forth. I need to understand their expectation. At the same time, I also require them to understand mine as well. So in order for me to do this, right, what I usually do is I trust people from day one. Whichever team or whoever team that I inherit from every role, every company, I trust them from day one. And I empower them. I am very, in a way, outcome driven. So usually all my team are empowered to craft up their own journey. So they will determine how they want to walk, run, or drive on that journey, as long as end of the day, it is aligned to the direction and outcome that I'm driving, so that we know we are still going the same direction. So it's not about me telling people what to do. It's about me empowering the team or the people that I have to lead so that they know this is the direction, this is the way we need to go, and these are the deliverables. At the same time, I give them full authority to do the things that they feel is right. Of course, full authority doesn't come with me letting go. It also comes with a lot of reviewing, a lot of monitoring, a lot of probably evaluating whether this will be the right way. And I always have sessions with them where they are more than happy to share with me their thoughts. Then we align, we debate, we fight over all these thoughts. But at the end of the day, as long as we leave the room, we are all aligned with the direction and we are all aligned with the action plans or the decision that we need to take for the good of the company, for the good of the team, or for the good of the overall business.
So it's really about communication, making sure that everyone has the same alignment and at the same time also letting them to voice their own
That's correct.
opinion, take the initiative.
Yes, it's very important to be that platform for them to share their thoughts, right? Because more often than not, a lot of times people don't share because the leader doesn't want to listen. That's one. And number two, the leader comes with a preconceived outcome or decision that they already made but they just want people to say, okay, let's get their buy-in. So that is not very healthy. I think it's very, very important for us as leaders to allow our team to share their thoughts, be very open, give them that space for them to share their free. End of the day, right? If you have 600 people working with you, you have actually 600 brains out there, right? Who probably would be able to think of something that you will not be able to do so on your own. So I think that's very, very important for us to listen. Not all the time is about talking. And if you look at communication, right, more often than not, people say communication is about speaking and talking. But again, people forget communication is also about active listening. It's about the verbal, non-verbal cues, right? It's about eye contact and so on and so forth. So I think it's very, very critical for us to really, really inculcate the right communication skills.
Thanks for sharing. As you've managed so many people, right? How do you keep them motivated?
Well, I think first thing first, if they are all aligned with the direction or the vision that we have for the business or for the company, that will be probably one of the motivator. Of course, there are other motivators, right? The monetary part, the benefits part. And again, I think if you look at it, right, a lot of motivation comes from how leaders actually treat their team, the engagement part of it. Do we have that bonding session, that team bonding session? So again, sometimes it's not about the physical or monetary motivation that motivates people. It's about how well you treat your team. Do you share with them good practices? Do you coach them the right method? Do you share with them what you have done in the past? And what about giving them that freedom, the empowerment to do things? Because nowadays, if you look at the so-called newer generation, they like that freedom, that flexibility, right? So again, if you give them that flexibility, they know that they are trusted, they can be trusted, and they know that their boss or the manager trusts them fully. So to that extent, that could be a new motivation factor with a lot of people nowadays. So it's not about the money, right? It's not about the money all the time. It's not about your benefits and comms, whether you have flexible benefits and so on and so forth. Of course, if you have that, that would be great. Those are really great motivators. I will always say that the human touch is one of the greatest motivation ever. And sometimes a lot of companies, whether it's the leaders or managers, they tend to forget. They always think that, okay, my team will only be motivated with money. I give them more money, people get motivated. True, to a certain extent, because once you reach a certain threshold, it becomes a plateau. You reach a certain threshold. After that threshold, any more money will not change any more motivation level. So it's all about the human touch. If you are going to be a leader, whether it's a sales leader or non-sales leader, it is very, very important for you to really be there for your team, to inspire them and to be that resource center, the support for them, that they know that they can have someone that will be backing them up in the event that they do face challenges.
So really not so much monetary and really more about the human touch. So outside of sales, right? Sales is sometimes demanding, but how can people manage to have a healthy work-life balance?
Healthy work-life balance. I get these questions all the time, right? How do we have a work-life balance? So I think the first question we need to ask ourselves is, what is work-life balance? Is it a 50-50? Is it a 40-60? Is it 30-70, right? What is balance to you? Work-life balance varies differently from different people. Yet again, if you really want to maintain a healthy work-life balance, I would say it's actually all up to you. Where do you want to put the balance? For me, it's about doing my work right and work well at work itself and never bring it home. So I try my very best not to bring work home with me. Many years ago, I used to bring work back, and I can be seen sending out emails even late at night or even over the weekends. And sometimes I go out over the weekends. So I find that it is not very efficient, which means if I go to do work out of work time, I'm really not very efficient and I need to do something about it. So nowadays, I realize that work will never end. For me, if I'm back home, I'm back home. Because when I'm back home, it's really my family and my me time. So I leave work behind. Because tomorrow, if you go back to work will still be there. Unless you have completed it today. But then again, if you're completed today, there's no more work. Why are you there for, right? So it's about being effective and also being efficient. At the same time, you got to tell yourself, when is it time for me to say, okay, let me put it aside and let me spend time with my family. Work will never end, but the time that you spend with your family may not be there again. If you're married, you have kids, and I realize that my kids will grow up, and the time I'm going to spend with them will never come back. But the time for me to do work will always be there. So hence, that is how I manage my work-life balance. It's work means it's work, and my life, well, there's definitely more life than work, right?
So of course, I think life is really more complex than just work.
Yes.
It's just that there's so many different balls to juggle, right? From relationships, family, friends, to health, right?
Correct.
Finance. There's so
Correct.
many big facets of life.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, career is one of the places where we spend a lot of our times
Agreed.
on.
Yeah, I agree with
Our
you.
working
So
lives
where
on.
we spend our time on, let's say at work, if it's 8 hours, make sure you spend the best 8 hours at work. And thereafter, you have to balance your time to do whatever that you need to do. Spend time with family, spend time with your friends, have a bit of me time, because sometimes time is not about with somebody else, right? Sometimes it's about us, because we really want to spend time with ourselves, trying to understand, did we do a good job today? Did we achieve certain things today? Are we aligned to our goals? So a lot of self-reflection. Yeah. So again, to me, it's spending time with ourselves alone. Not many people do that, but I tell you, it is really, really a time that we should be doing. It's not about spending time with people all the time. Sometimes it's about doing that self-reflection and being self-aware where we are. Are we still on the same path towards our purpose or passion or our goal?
I think that's a great point, because oftentimes we need shit to hit the fan first before we do these kind
So let's not
of
wait for the shit to hit the fan, right? Try to prevent it from happening, right? Because again, if it already happens, then you're just trying to firefight. So to me, prevention is definitely better than your firefight.
Thanks for sharing. And before we
Sure.
just wrap up, could you share a significant lesson on mistake? Just any one that you think might benefit our listeners.
Okay. Significant lesson. At the very beginning, I always thought it was all about me, right? That means it's about me, it's about my targets, what I do. But then again, I always realized that it is actually not about me. It's not about us all the time. It's about how we actually make someone else feel more important than us. So hence, I actually move away from a need of significance, because as humans, right, we have plenty of needs. Some people need certainty, some they need uncertainty. Uncertainty means they need things, they love to thrive on challenges. Some people love or require a need for love or relationship, right? Some is about significance. Significance means it's all about me, right? And I move away from that to a need of contribution. Contribution means it's all about giving back. It's all about creating that positive impact personalized, right? So that's where I would say my career or my life journey have moved on to. Remember I shared with you, I'm the founder of Touching Us Bridging Minds, and it's all about enriching people's lives. So enriching people's lives really fit very well with my need for contribution. So it's all about giving back, about contributing to people's well-being, to people's, I don't know, whether is it mental, physical, or emotionally needs, whatever not. So you realize that when you move from yourself to other people, life becomes a lot more fulfilling, a lot more rewarding. And hence, to me, that's my biggest lesson that I've learned in the past, and I've changed the way I look at life or even look at career in general.
That's very true, actually, because when I was younger, at least I think everything was all in my perspective, right? I didn't really get to or think about other people's perspective. So, on Touching Hearts and Bridging Minds, where can people find out more about this?
Where can anyone find about me or Touching and Bridging Minds? They can actually head over to my website, leegerald.com, LEEGERALD, leegerald, which is my name.com. If you go over to that website, you can see what I do and the services that I actually provide. Or they can actually connect with me on my LinkedIn profile or over at my Facebook page. So I'm also available on social media.
So thanks so much, Gerald, for sharing your knowledge, your sales career and your sales path so far. And as we close out this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the Bridge podcast for more insights like this. Thanks and see you again soon.